Let's move on now. Is government spending too much on land compensation under Vision 2030? 11 billion shillings has already been paid out for acquisition of land in the Nairobi-Mombasa segment of the Standard Gauge Railway. And the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure notes that the government has enough land to relocate affected persons that compensate there, and compensation is not sustainable undertakings. Abegina puts this into perspective.
With Kenya fast rushing to execute major infrastructure projects, the economy has been poised to grow significantly. In 2016, the National Treasury forecast that Kenya will grow by 6%, mainly anchored on increased infrastructure spending. Among some of the top 5 projects Kenya is currently constructing include the port expansion in Mombasa, JKIA modernization program, the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor LAPSET, as well as the Standard Gauge Railway project. Whereas these projects are meant to ease the cost of doing business and make Kenya an attractive destination, they have come at an extra cost. And that is the amount spent in relocation of residents owing to land within the vicinity the projects will reside.
Investments in land must benefit the local people and the Kenyan public in general. So I think from what you have seen and the expected benefits that are going to accrue from this project, the benefits certainly will outweigh the costs.
The SGR alone has seen a whopping 12 billion shillings paid out to thousands of landowners as compensation. Other projects that are set to gobble up huge amounts include the LAPSET project as well as the construction of the Dongokundu bypass in Mombasa County. The Ministry of Transport is now worried that the huge sums being channeled to compensation could make Kenya lose out on major regional infrastructure projects.
I think the 12 billion to me, unfortunately, is where I feel we need to change the narrative. It's great that that has been paid and another 18 billion to be paid, but I think that's where we need to change the narrative as Kenyans, because public goods, public interest should override private interest. I do not believe it will be sustainable for us to continue paying these kinds of monies. We are talking of LAPSET, which is 950 kilometers all the way from Lamu to Nakadok on the South Sudan border. We are talking of a corridor of 500 meters. We are talking of that LAPSET going from Lamu to Isiolo to Nairobi. We are talking of building commuter rail, expanding that. I think we need to come up to sit down and say it is not about people making money from these public projects.
Although relocation from one area to another is a viable option for landowners, a majority of them have in the past preferred cash compensation.
The proposal is always there is land. Government has a lot of land. If I take away your half acre, I should be able to give you another half acre or an acre or 2 acres somewhere else. I'm not taking a lot of people on these routes. You'll find it's not like they are living there. So that you have half an acre here does not mean that you cannot move it just a kilometer away. It's still government land. So I should be able to give you land, not money.
This is attributed to a land buying regime that is heavily speculative.
We will spend 30 billion shillings on SGR. If we were to compensate for a 500-meter corridor on LAPSET for 900 kilometers, we are talking of billions of dollars. We do not have billions of dollars to pay for land before you even start paying for the infrastructure itself. When we were discussing with the Ugandans on Monday on the oil, the crude oil pipeline, one of the issues they raised is the issue of compensation of land acquisition in Kenya, saying that they do not see how we'll be able to do that in such a short period, because they're saying it's difficult, it's expensive, and they don't have a guarantee that we'll be able to deliver.
We also have a lot of disputes of ownership of the land parcels which we are acquiring. Either we don't know the owner or the owners are in dispute themselves. A family is having a dispute over who should actually be paid. Then we have cases of land without titles. cases of land with only developments. All these are challenges that we have had to undertake to meet when we are undertaking the acquisition.
To change the narrative is public good. The road is a public good, should override private interest. We just need to figure out how do you compensate this loss of private interest.
Poor planning is to blame for the heavy spending on mega projects. Perhaps it is time now that the Ministry of Planning develops policies that give clear guidelines on key government projects so as to ensure the areas are zoned out to avoid encroachment, which has a huge dent on infrastructure projects. Abi Agina, KTN Business Today.